Thanks to internet memes, almost everyone has seen these costumes, which are particularly demanded for Halloween, but few people know that 4 centuries ago these were no boogeymen but healers. Armenian Recluse presents. The Black Death peaking in Europe from 1347 to 1351 was the deadliest epidemic of bubonic plague in history, wiping out some 25 million Europeans alone in just a few years. And although the plague that bedeviled southern Europe in the 17th century wasn't nearly as destructive as the Black Death of the 14th century, it is estimated to have killed over 1 million people in Italy and surrounding areas over the course of the decade, but mostly between 1656 and 1658. No one was safe, and since the germ theory of disease wouldn't reinvent medicine for another 200 years, all that French medical doctor Charles de Lorme could do was to invent this unusual outfit, which became a key part of doctors' protective arsenal. It was intended to protect plague doctors from airborne diseases. After more than 250 years fighting the plague, hope did finally arrive with the invention of this strange suit. Unfortunately, it didn't work very well. The Big Doctor costume, which is a full head-to-toe protective garment, modeled after a soldier's armor, consisted of an ankle-length overcoat and a bird-like beak mask, often filled with sweet or strong-smelling substances, commonly lavender, along with gloves, boots, a white-brimmed hat and an outer overclothing garment. The overclothing garment, as well as leggings, gloves, boots and a hat, were made of waxed leather. The mask had glass openings in the eyes and straps that held the beak in front of the doctor's nose. It had 2 small nose holes and was a type of respirator which contained aromatic items. As a result of air holes poked into the beak, many of the doctors contracted the plague and died. The beak could hold dried flowers, including roses and carnations, herbs including mint, spices, camphor or a vinegar sponge. The purpose of the mask was to keep away bad smells, known as miasma, which were thought to be the principal cause of the disease before it was disproved by germ theory. Doctors believed the herbs would counter the evil smells of the plague and prevent them from becoming infected. Sometimes the herbs were set aflame before they were put in the mask, so that the smoke could further protect the plague doctor. The doctor carried a long wooden stick which he used to communicate with his patients, examine them and occasionally ward off the more desperate and aggressive ones. By other accounts, patients believed the plague to be a punishment sent from God and requested the plague doctor whip them in repentance. Typically, they were not experienced physicians or surgeons at all. Rather, they were often either second-rate doctors unable to otherwise run a successful medical practice, or young physicians seeking to establish themselves in the industry. They rarely cured their patients, rather they served to record a count of the number of people contaminated for demographic purposes. The costume itself was associated with death. Where there is plague, there is the doctor's beak and also death, which has become deeply ingrained in popular culture. Despite the uselessness of this uniform, the development of the plague doctor and his creepy silly costume suggests important changes were afoot in medicine and public health during this time.